was noon. The school door opened, and the kids ran out quickly, pushing each other. But instead of going home for lunch, they stopped and started whispering. This morning Simon, the son of La Blanchotte, came to school for the first time. The kids had heard their families talk about La Blanchotte. In public, people were nice to her, but at home, the mothers spoke about her with some pity. The kids copied this without knowing why. The kids did not know Simon. He never played outside with them. They did not care about him. They were surprised and happy to hear a boy say, "You know Simon, he has no papa." Just then, Simon came out of the school. He was 7 or 8 years old, pale and very neat. He looked shy and a bit scared. Simon was going home when the other kids, whispering and watching him with mean eyes, came closer and closer. They surrounded him. He stood there, surprised and confused, not knowing what they wanted. The boy who started the talk asked, "What is your name?" Simon answered, "Simon." "Simon what?" asked the boy. The child, confused, said again, "Simon." The boy shouted, "Everyone has a last name. Simon is not enough." Simon, almost crying, said again, "My name is Simon." The kids laughed. The mean boy shouted, "You can see he has no papa." The kids were shocked. A boy with no papa was strange to them. They felt the same dislike for Simon that their mothers had for La Blanchotte. Simon leaned against a tree, feeling very sad. He wanted to explain but could not think of what to say. Finally, he shouted, "Yes, I have one." "Where is he?" asked the boy. Simon was silent. He did not know what to say. The children laughed loudly. They felt a strong urge to be mean, like animals attacking a weak one. Simon saw a boy nearby, the son of a widow. This boy was also always alone with his mother. "You don't have a papa either," Simon said. "Yes, I do," said the other boy. "Where is he?" Simon asked. "He is dead," said the boy proudly. "He is in the cemetery." The other kids liked this answer. It seemed better to have a dead papa than no papa at all. These kids, whose fathers were often bad men, pushed each other closer, feeling strong because they had fathers. One boy stuck out his tongue and shouted, "No papa! No papa!" Simon grabbed him by the hair and kicked his legs, biting his cheek. They fought hard. Simon was beaten and fell to the ground, covered in dust. Someone shouted, "Go tell your papa." Simon felt very sad. They had beaten him, and he had no answer because he knew it was true. He tried not to cry but couldn't stop the tears. The other kids were happy to see him cry. They held hands and danced around him, chanting, "No papa! No papa!" Suddenly Simon stopped crying. He became angry. He picked up stones and threw them at the kids. Some got hit and ran away, scared. The rest ran off too. Left alone, Simon ran toward the fields. He had a plan. He decided to drown himself in the river. Simon remembered that a poor man had jumped into the water 8 days ago because he had no money. Simon saw when they took him out of the water. The man looked peaceful with his pale face, wet beard, and calm eyes. People said, "He is dead." Someone else said, "He is happy now." Simon wanted to drown himself too because he had no father, just like the man had no money. He reached the water and watched it flow. Some fish were jumping in the clear stream, catching flies. Simon stopped crying to watch them because it interested him. But then he remembered, "I am going to drown myself because I have no papa." It was warm and sunny. The sun made the grass warm. The water shone like a mirror. Simon felt a little happy and wanted to sleep in the sunshine. A small green frog jumped near him. He tried to catch it but missed. He tried 3 times and finally caught it by its leg. He laughed at the frog's efforts to escape. It reminded him of a toy with little soldiers. Then he thought of his home and his mother. He felt very sad again and started crying. He knelt down and tried to pray but couldn't finish because he was sobbing too hard. He was lost in his sadness. Suddenly, a heavy hand touched his shoulder, and a rough voice asked, "What is making you so sad, little man?" Simon turned around. A tall workman with a beard and curly black hair was looking at him kindly. Simon answered through his tears, "They beat me because I have no papa, no papa." "What?" said the man, smiling. "Why, everyone has a papa," the child said sadly. "But I have no papa." The workman became serious. He knew this boy was La Blanchotte's son. He had heard a little about her story. "Well," said the man, "don't be sad. Come with me to your mother. They will give you a papa." They started walking. The big man held the little boy's hand. The man smiled because he wanted to see La Blanchotte, who was very pretty. He thought maybe she would like him. They reached a small, neat white house. "There it is," said the child. He shouted, "Mama!" A woman appeared. The workman stopped smiling. He saw that she was serious and strong. He took off his cap and said, "Madam, I brought your boy back. He was near the river." But Simon hugged his mother and cried, "No, Mama, I wanted to drown myself because the others beat me. They beat me because I have no papa." The woman's cheeks turned red. She hugged her child tightly and cried. The man stood there, not knowing what to do. Then Simon ran to him and asked, "Will you be my papa?" There was a deep silence. La Blanchotte was very sad and leaned against the wall, holding her heart. The child, seeing no answer, said, "If you don't, I will go back and drown myself." The workman thought it was a joke and laughed. "Yes, I will be your papa." "What is your name?" asked the child, "so I can tell the others." "Philip," said the man. Simon was silent for a moment to remember the name. Then he stretched out his arms and said, "Well, Philip, you are my papa." The workman lifted Simon and kissed him on both cheeks. Then he walked away quickly. When Simon went to school the next day, the children laughed at him. After school, Simon said loudly, "My papa's name is Philip." The children laughed more. "Philip who? What kind of name is Philip?" Simon said nothing. He looked at them bravely. The schoolmaster helped him, and Simon went home to his mother. For 3 months, the tall workman, Philip, often walked by La Blanchotte's house. Sometimes he talked to her when she was sewing near the window. She always answered politely but never let him inside. People in the neighborhood started to gossip. Simon loved his new papa. He walked with Philip nearly every evening. He went to school and stayed strong, not answering back to the other children. One day, the boy who first teased Simon said, "You lied. You don't have a papa named Philip." "Why do you say that?" Simon asked, worried. The boy smiled and said, "If he was your papa, he would be your mama's husband." Simon felt confused but said, "He is my papa." "That may be," said the boy, "but he is not really your papa." Simon felt sad and walked to the forge where Philip worked. The forge was dark, with a big fire lighting up the place. 5 blacksmiths were working hard, hitting the red-hot iron. Simon quietly went to Philip and pulled his sleeve. Philip turned around. The work stopped, and everyone watched. Simon said in a small voice, "Philip, the Michaud boy said you are not really my papa." "Why not?" asked the blacksmith. Simon replied, "Because you are not my mama's husband." No one laughed. Philip leaned on his hammer, thinking. His friends watched him. Simon waited, feeling small next to the big men. Suddenly, one of the blacksmiths said, "La Blanchette is a good, honest woman. She would make a good wife for an honest man." The others agreed. The blacksmith continued, "It's not her fault. She was promised marriage. Many respected people have made the same mistake." "That's true," said the other men. "She worked hard to raise her child alone. She has cried many years and only goes out to church." "This is also true," they said. Then only the sound of the fire was heard. Philip bent down to Simon and said, "Go and tell your mother I will talk to her tonight." He gently pushed Simon out. The men went back to work, their hammers hitting the anvils. Philip's hammer was the loudest. When it was dark and the sky was full of stars, Philip knocked on La Blanchette's door. He wore a clean shirt and his beard was trimmed. La Blanchette opened the door and said, "It's not good to come at night, Mr. Philip." He tried to answer but stammered and felt confused. She continued, "You understand that I don't want people to talk about me again." Philip said, "It doesn't matter to me if you will be my wife." There was silence. Then he heard a sound from inside the room. He went in quickly. Simon, in bed, heard a kiss and his mother talking softly. Suddenly, Philip lifted Simon up and said, "Tell your friends that your papa is Philip Remy, the blacksmith, and he will protect you." The next day at school, Simon stood up and said, "My papa is Philip Remy, the blacksmith, and he will protect me." No one laughed. Everyone knew Philip Remy, the blacksmith, and they knew he was a strong and proud papa.